gate I'll always greet you. At my door you're welcome in. There can be no transgression as a means to an end. On the wind the wolves are howling, open arms are closed in fear, helping hands are clenched in anger, broken hearts beyond repair. Everything's so great, can't get better, makes me wanna cry, but I'll go out howling at the moon tonight. There she stands, so tall and mighty, with her keen and watchful eye, in the heart of a mother, holding out her guiding light. It's a hard road to travel, solid rock from end to end. The sun it rises on her brow and sets upon the great expanse. Everything's so great, can't get better, makes me wanna cry, but I'll go out howling at the moon tonight. There she stands, so tall and mighty, her gaze facing the east, and at her back our doors are closing as we grin and bare our teeth. On the wind the wolves are howling, she cries they're drawing near. Well, turn around, my darling, no, the wolves are here. Everything's so great, can't get better, makes me wanna cry, but I'll go out howling at the moon tonight. Yeah, I'll go out howling at the moon tonight.
Hello.
There we go. Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Valente. Thank you for joining us on the Political Deep Dive. It is a free-for-all Sunday. Dan and I have already been in communications heavily on this Sunday.
We have. It's been a very disappointing day.
It was a very good day.
It was a good day if you were a Buffalo Sabres fan. It was a bad day if you were a hockey fan.
Oh, it was a fantastic day for hockey.
The Sabres have taken a 3-1 lead, and it looks like they're going to close it out in Buffalo on Tuesday. I can see the better team. The better team has won.
So they took the advantage on Thursday night, taking a 2-1 series lead, and I thought, I thought it was I really thought it was going to be a tied series. I thought it was going to be a close game today. Overtime, probably. Boston wins. We come back to Buffalo. Buffalo came out to play. They were great over Boston. Holy shit! But,
yep.
Yeah, it was a fun day. 4-0 before the end of the first, and it went to 6-1 by the end of the game. So, but yeah. So, what should we talk about today? There hasn't been much news this week.
Well,
yeah, no news at all.
Actually, hold on a second before we get into here. Welcome back, Ari. Thank you for joining us again. We're so happy to have you back.
It's great. It's really great to be back again. life is finally kind of
And
slowed
tell
down.
tell us how you want us to pronounce your name. Ari or Ari?
Ari.
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 Ari. Okay.
Yes. So the full name, if you want to be able to hear it, is very very French.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear it.
Araignée. Araignée.
Argentina.
Araignée.
All right. Also joining us, AJ. What's up, AJ?
Y'all.
AJ is
Y'all.
making fun art with her fingernails.
And
I
tell us how you
am
like AJ pronounced.
letter A, letter J. You have no
There you go.
idea how often at work I used to have to spell that to people.
Hi, my name is Aj.
Aj.
It's short
They'd be
for
like, and how do you
Ajna.
spell your name? And I was like, letter A, letter J. And they'd be like, oh, okay.
There was a comedian that came to our college campus back in '92. He was from Tennessee. He's this, I think he was Korean, but his name, I can't remember what his name. Henry Cho. Henry Cho is the comedian.
All right.
And he talked about one of the guys that he grew up with in Tennessee. Went to his first name was JB. Parents named him JB. That's it.
Mm.
And so he went to get his driver's license. And they said, "My name is JB," and gave him the birth certificate. And he's like, "Really? What does that stand for?" No, just JB. It's J only, B only. On the driver's license, they put Jonely Bonely.
That's awesome.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. So
There's a famous episode of MASH where I don't know how many of you have ever seen the TV show MASH, but it used to be a big deal. Where Hawkeye wants to figure out what BJ stands for in BJ Honeycutt.
Yes.
And they go through it, and they found out, and in the end, finds out his name actually is BJ. He's like, who would name their kid BJ? He's like, my mother B Honeycutt and my father J Honeycutt. And
Love that.
the one thing that I'll add on top of that is that it wasn't that uncommon in the 70s. And I think even the late 60s for hippies to do that sort of thing. I have a great friend whose name is Yumi, Youme.
Does that explain Mark Wayne?
Maybe.
Oh
Well,
God.
I'll be honest, my mom did not name me AJ. So,
Yeah.
but,
That's fair. Well, I'm happy to use your preferred name. I have no reason to dead name you.
That's right.
So AJ
My,
is AJ.
that.
my community named me. So
Yeah.
that makes me very happy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about assassination attempts in a room
The lights.
that Dave and I were in not that long ago.
Not that about a year ago.
Yep. And
2 years ago. Sorry.
it was pretty crazy.
Right.
Now, have you watched the video yet of the guy being apprehended, or right before he was apprehended?
Well, I saw the video
No.
of him running.
Him running.
That's about it.
So this is, considering that it looks like he planned it a little bit, it's like he planned how he was going to get to DC, and then that was the end of the planning.
Like, seriously, I said last night, I think I was in more danger than Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Quite literally, I was in way more danger than Donald Trump because there were so many layers of security and
and he never. Let's for people who aren't familiar, and I've already forgotten the guy's name.
Thomas. His last name. Yeah.
John Thomas.
I didn't
Oh,
even learn it in the first place.
Yeah, it's
Sprinkles
Thomas
Ruler.
is his last name, Alan Thomas. The fans will know and type in what the guy's name is. But so he
More than
came
likely.
from California and took the train to Chicago. For people who don't know, that is a
Hey, Jana.
famous train ride, the California Zephyr. Awesome when it's running. And so I'm glad that he got to do that. And then apparently might have driven from Chicago to DC. Had some guns. I would say probably not more guns than any of us have been around at any point in time. But he had a shotgun and a handgun and some knives.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when the correspondent dinner started, and it's done in the ballroom at the Washington, D.C. Hilton, which is where the Libertarian Party had its national convention.
And
in
Donald Trump spoke there too.
Donald Trump spoke there in 2024, and none of us shot him or brought guns in. He decides the way I'm going to get there is I'm going to sprint 200 yards past all of the Secret Service agents in a robe carrying my guns. And so, needless to say, he made it about 50 yards before they tackled him. And interestingly enough, they didn't even shoot him. They just tackled him.
Like they do.
Yep. And so he never made it into the ballroom where all the officials were.
No, and so for those of you who have not been to this facility, it's actually downstairs. And I remember when Trump spoke at the Libertarian, I bugged out before it happened, but they shut down the elevators and they shut down the escalators to the downstairs, and that's where the ballroom that this happened at is located. So you had to get into the building and you had to go downstairs. Actually, I think they said he was staying there.
Yeah, he was staying there.
But he still had to get down to that level and then sprint with these guns. Quite honestly, yeah, he thought he was going to do something. He didn't even get anywhere near. Do you want to see a profile in courage though?
Okay.
Hold on a second. Let me see if I still got it up here.
I mean, it's interesting that he made this decision and then just spaced out at the last moment, or
Oh, geez, that's the one you were talking about. The conga line.
Yeah, Vermin screamed it. He said this is the most awkward time to form a conga line. But quite honestly,
yes, I saw that one by Vermin.
We
could have had free ponies.
The interesting thing about it too is that the head there on the table,
the dude in the background is
makes me think of Pontius Pilate. I don't know if that's inappropriate or not.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
or at least maybe Julius Caesar.
There's a great piece of footage of the security rushing RFK out and leaving his wife Cheryl Hines behind.
Thanks, honey.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. And then there are written in there sort of certain acts of bravery that go unmentioned, but Congressman from Maryland immediately shielded people, took them to the ground with him, and sort of used his body as a protective shield, just instinctively. Lots of good things happened. Lots of stupid things happened.
Yeah.
And probably the stupidest of all things. So actually, you know what? I'm going to start the first contest of the night.
All right.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
A lot of people have said, this pretty much, if you'll forgive the pun, cements the ballroom. They're going to say, oh, it wouldn't have happened.
Oh, he said that. It is
already.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's my question. You get elected president. All of you, except for obviously AJ, who's not old enough to be elected president yet. But anybody else, all the other people get elected president. And now the ballroom exists. What purpose do you set it to really infuriate Donald Trump? It's going to now be called the Trump Hall of...
It is the Trump Hall of Transports.
I like that.
Oh, no,
I
no,
was
no.
thinking the Trump Hall of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
That one, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to hear
and I'm sorry, I would have to have a leather club there. Since we were previously talking about that, I would definitely need a gay leather club.
That works.
A trans inclusive gay leather club.
I am interested in what you know. What I do want to come back to that. Let's talk about Caitlyn Jenner and her passport.
Oh,
That's an
man.
interesting thing later on.
Yeah, but hold on a second.
You mean the leopard eating?
Yep.
But
The Trump Hall of Snap is interesting.
Leopard.
the picture
Go,
here.
Brandy. I love it.
Well, this picture here, though, first off, using your pregnant wife as a human shield is one thing. The
That's two human
groping,
shields if you're a Republican.
essentially, yeah. The groping of his wife at the same time, but not protecting the baby because it's probably Elon's.
Yeah,
This
right.
this picture is just so many levels of what is going on in Washington right now. Like, holy shit. The the not protecting your wife. She's kind of
And getting
disposable. Yeah.
carried gaily by the guy in back.
Yep.
Well,
Did you hear what happened on Grinder?
No.
So they had another
Spike.
near shutdown for DC, and apparently the MAGA crowd got angry because many inside of the Trump administration wanted to be able to join in with stuff with Grinder.
Yeah, I heard that there was some kind of thing outreach that the administration had done with Grinder, which was I thought
Yes.
was kind of weird, but
It's hilarious.
yeah. I mean, you're at one point trying to ban a lot of shit, but then you're like, let's hang out with the Grinder guys. Like, I make all this shit make sense. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of very conservative
All this
gay
shit
men.
make it make sense.
Right.
I
Oh,
mean,
no,
you know,
I
I'll
can
do my best.
tell you.
But
I can tell you this much: there are so many really conservative gay men.
Oh well,
And
Oh, yeah.
even
Lindsey Graham.
No.
I meant yes.
Yeah, I no. Well, I mean, this is the thing that we've seen whenever the RNC is in town, or whenever there's CPAC in town, or whenever there's a Turning Points USA
Yep.
thing going on.
Always
Grinder grinds.
fascist.
Grinder grinds.
Oh, it really does.
Right.
So in Rent Boys.
I have two things about that. First of all, I want to
Good
object
for the Rent Boys.
just because it bothers me that the idiots running the technology are so shitty that they can't keep their website up.
Well,
I
no, I
want to
think
say
they
that
do
doesn't have
maybe
to happen.
it's on purpose.
I think that's on purpose.
Interesting. So what you're saying is that
I
they're
do.
worried about the transmission of STDs in this population,
No,
and so
I
they
think
think
what-
the right thing to do.
I think it's to
I
highlight
think
the
the only
hypocrisy.
thing that they can think of to fight against them
Yeah.
Yeah,
is
Log
to let it
Cabin's still
happen
there.
and only allow it to happen when the Republicans are, having
See,
a jerk off.
I would think
a
that the right thing to
convention.
do would be to let the hookups happen, and then have the microphone turn on their phone at some point in time.
Honestly, I am waiting on the outing of the officials. That's what I'm waiting on.
Yeah,
There was a person who ended up having their hands in stuff with Grinder, but also with a couple of Rent Boy agencies. And they've been saying that they'll be willing to basically tell all, because good for the Rent Boys. Go and get it.
To me, I yes, these people are hypocrites and they deserve the bad things. I still kind of cringe at the idea of forced outings, but when you display that level of hypocrisy and you're actually voting to do things that take away people's rights,
Yep.
then I feel a little bit better.
Uh-huh.
I don't feel bad at all. It's like one of my friends in Baltimore is like she's a dominatrix, and she's had clients from a variety of different political parties, and especially like when they were being hypocrites in Maryland, she didn't have any problem outing people.
Awesome.
Like she didn't have that
Right.
problem. Like if they wanted to be voting against, the interests of themselves and of the community that they're part of, like I don't know, I'm leaning towards you.
Well, and so speaking of voting against your interests, maybe we should talk about Caitlyn Jenner here and her passport problems.
Yeah.
Ari, you want to give us the background on that?
So Caitlyn Jenner has been basically pleading Trump to be able to help her get her passport gender marker changed, because effectively she now can't travel. She has been medically transitioned for a hot minute. And for her to be able to go travel with a M on her gender marker for her passport is actually will be physically dangerous for her in certain situations.
And she's gone so far, right? Because she has tremendous money and legal resources,
Privileged.
right? Privilege. She's been able to change her birth certificate,
Yes.
and yet
Don't move to Oklahoma.
Somehow the Department of State, even though she didn't really give them any indication. She sent in a birth certificate. She said, "Look, here's my birth certificate that says I am F. I need a passport that says I am F." And they sent her one that said M.
Yes.
So it's not like it's completely automated or anything like that. And yet, as a member of the Leopard Ate My Face caucus,
Leopard eating face caucus.
yes, here she is, baffled by this man that she supported for president.
Yes.
And it's a very interesting scenario.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Well,
but
could have seen
this
that
is not the
coming.
only. She's not the only person that's dealing with this. I mean, we've seen
No.
the Hispanic influencers that have been deported. That are like super Trump influencers. They've been deported. There are a lot of people who have voted for Donald Trump and now are learning what that really means, and it's only going to get worse when you start talking about like the big beautiful bill. When that really starts kicking in, because that's not most of the shit that goes down with the big beautiful bill doesn't kick in until 2027. So like the hospitals closing, the Medicaid cuts, all that stuff is backloaded onto this bill. And those people that voted for Donald Trump to get rid of all the illegals and to to get the women out of men or the men out of women's sports, they're going to learn some shit.
Yep.
Well,
and it's going to be very. Go ahead, Mari.
It's like you were starting to say, it's gonna be really painful, and she's not the only one. She's just the most high profile one thus far, because there have been the conservative LGBT influencers. What was his name?
Not Milo.
Angel. No. Milo's been going back and forth.
Yeah, we don't know what Milo.
Milo's
Milo
always
doesn't know
been
what
a
Milo
grifter.
is. Yeah.
No. He's a adult film actor. Went through the same thing.
Buck
He's
Wild.
not able to. Yeah. Yeah.
Long Dong Silver.
He was. We actually we were trying to get him to come to the Libertarian Convention in 2020, but sadly it didn't work out.
No, he's gone. He's on the bandwagon with Caitlyn Jenner. There's been several other LGBT conservative influencers that have been going through the same stuff, particularly the trans ones, and it's just she's the highest profile. And we've been telling these people, for a while now that this was what was going to happen. Yeah, Blair White, exactly, Blair White. She's had to go through the same thing, and it's been crazy. And I don't know if they're going to change or if they're going to accept that this is how it's going to be until he's out of office.
Here's the other interesting thing about it. Do you, and I'll just throw this out to everybody, audience as well as other panelists, do you think Trump actually cares?
No.
Or is this like a deal that he made with the devil to get things? I agree with you, Dave. I think there's plenty of evidence of Donald Trump having been a pretty good friend with Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, I just don't.
However, not an ally.
I don't. Well, see,
No.
I think with Trump, it's the how can I get power, and the
Right.
LGBTQ community is just not big enough compared to the evangelical community. And that
Yep.
calculus, he'll make that calculus all day long, is that I will throw them under the bus to get these people to support me. Um, I, quite honestly, I don't think Donald Trump cares either way. If the LGBTQ community was bigger, I think he would be on that bandwagon. Because remember when he was running in
I bet he
2016,
was.
he actually had the LGBTQ flag, and he was
Yeah.
like appearing on stage with that stuff. And then when he got the nomination, that's that view started shrinking, and he started, the two Corinthians walk into a bar type. His
That's
speech
pretty
at,
damn funny, Dave.
his speech at Liberty University. Yeah.
Yep.
And all the stuff that he's doing now, the Jesus pick, and
Well, I mean, the thing about it is that
The doctor.
the people who are,
the doctor of this image.
excuse me, the people who are morally, and I use the word morally in quotation here, but against homosexuality or whatever, they argue that is their principle, okay, and that's why they have that position. The real truth is that Trump has no principles whatsoever.
Oh no,
And
not at all.
that's why he's not pro, he's not anti, he's just power
Transactional.
and transaction. And that's it. And
Yeah.
as we're seeing, that is significantly worse than just a closed-minded bigot. Because a closed-minded bigot, you can actually say, look, recognize what you are. You might say, God told me this is what the thing is, and you believe that. And then we can start addressing, those issues and say, okay, well, let's talk about what God told you. And, did God give you any other messages? Show me where God touched you. Stuff like that.
It's God
Where
in
the
the
doll
movie.
did
That's right.
Here's a doll.
Exactly. But for a person who is quite literally selling their soul to be in charge of the country, it means that different people, and this is the bad part of capitalism, right? Different people are figuring out
This is
how
the
to
bad part?
buy. Well, I mean, this is the worst part. Different people are figuring
I'm
out
so sorry.
how to buy what Donald Trump has for sale.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
yeah.
and they're finding different
Power.
ways to compete for it. Exactly. That's it.
Access. Yeah.
And where we get in this situation is that, the people with who are good at figuring out how to accumulate power are fundamentally bad people, in my opinion, because they covet
Do you-
power.
Do you think that like an actual free market would help with this? Not what we have now, but an actual free market.
Yes, because in a truly free market, the lowest common denominator wins. The person who's able to sell their good cheaply is the one who profits the most. These people, hey Jeremy, these people who are supporting the president, who want to support power, they need to not have a free market. They need government protection in order for their business model to work. If we could just go ahead.
This is why I've been arguing that this is the single largest government that I, in my 43 years, have ever experienced. Like this is the single largest expansion and scope of government I have ever seen. And it's the sheer amount of power and control that this one ends up having. Like I lived through Clinton, I lived through Obama, I lived through I lived through it.
But what did they tell us? Like, the Democrats were all about the big government, and really, the Democrats will have to have this conversation as we go through the 2028 election. That
Oh yeah, I mean,
what are we doing here? Are we going to strip the powers of the presidency to to rebalance the powers amongst with Congress and the Supreme Court, or are we going to say, well, we're the good guys. We're going to come in and take these powers and use them for good. Well,
Oh
you're leaving the
God.
powers in place. You're leaving the powers in place, so that all you have to do is wait for another election, and a person, I hate to say worse than Trump, but there are people in the world that are worse than Trump,
oh yeah,
and
JD Vance might be worse.
JD Vance is worse because he genuinely believes this weird
He's
kind of
already
Catholic thing,
shown us that he goes where he's told.
and
He says
he's young.
and does what he's
Yeah.
told.
Yeah, there
It's
is
not just that. He's willing to be able to sell himself to be able to gain that power. His principles, his morality, his spirituality, his religion is sellable for the highest bidder if it'll get him to that position of power.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
And in
all of that different stuff.
In 2018, Nick Sarwark, who was then chair of the Libertarian Party, gave a great speech where he talked about the fact that the reason the Democrats hadn't impeached Trump yet was because they felt like they were going to win the presidency in 2020, and they wanted their presidential candidate to have those powers. And indeed, they did not impeach until the very end, when they knew, right, nothing was going to happen of it. But it was politically important to have the impeachment as an issue for the 2020 election, so that all the congressmen could say, yes, this is what we voted for, etc. But we have this scenario where we are looking at that right now, because there are legitimately a lot of things that I am fearful of. I have a really interesting thought. I had a conversation with friends of mine that you are going to see ICE level interdiction for firearms. That they're going to go after whatever they think that you have, because, right, this administration has established that the government doesn't need probable cause anymore to seize you, to search your house, etc. And
administrative warrants just fine. Yeah,
exactly. And I think about all the illegal stuff that I have in my house. Okay, there's a fair bit. How much of that is going to be?
It's dependent on who's in the White House. That's
Exactly. And I'll tell you, we had a situation. It's funny because we're at the anniversary of the marathon bombing in Boston, and probably one of the greatest violations of civil rights in Massachusetts history since I don't know, maybe the Boston Massacre, where they essentially locked down a pretty large section of the city, and then searched people's houses without a warrant, with machine guns. And they showed up the door and said, okay, we're coming in. We're going to search your house. Now, I predicted at that point in time that in 3 months there were going to be a lot of arrests made for people who had illegal cannabis or something else in their house that was turned up.
Yeah.
To the government's credit, that did not happen. So I was wrong.
Wow.
But it could have happened. It could have happened. Yeah, Jared, what we're saying is that, Trump supporters won't accept it. But what are they going to do in 2028 when there's a Democratic president?
Yeah.
And probably what's going to happen. It's going to be Ruby Ridge. It's going to be Waco. It's going to be
or at least 100 small versions.
It's going to be Amon Bundy, who happens to be a speaker in Grand Rapids at the Libertarian National Convention.
Yeah.
God.
But
I like him. I like him.
Yeah, I mean,
to a degree.
There is a legitimate statement that what the Bundys did is stand up to government. There's also a legitimate statement that says, the BLM, the original BLM, Bureau of Land Management, administers the land, and that the land is not just for the people who were there originally, because there are more people who want to use the land, and the land belongs to the public, not the people who are using it originally. And so that's an interesting statement as well. What I do generally think is that resolving it via firearms shouldn't have worked, but it did. And so now what we know is that the right thing to do, if you really want to dispute the government, is to have sufficient force. And a lot of people will tell you, there is no First Amendment without the Second. So if you believe that, it's going to be more important than ever, because I do have a bad feeling that there's going to be a lot of stuff going away.
Tyler
agree
has
with,
a good point.
Yeah, I agree with Tyler. I think, again, the conversation needs to happen that, whoever's running for president on the Democrats in 2028 has to address the massive amounts of power that's accumulated under the president.
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, I personally won't support somebody who thinks that having that much power under the president is okay, just as long as we've got the right person in power, because it doesn't always work like that.
Yep.
And
But how do we get people to accept? How do we get people to accept to want to decrease the amount of government? Because we've had.
Keep showing them all this shit.
But
keep showing them that and making the point that
I don't know. It's they seem
ice
to
going
not
door to door.
understand it.
Well, ice going door to door, and to an extent, I agree with John Key. I don't know that the Democrats will go door to door to get guns. I don't know that even amongst the Democratic Party that there is much appetite to do that kind of thing. Maybe for certain types of guns, but I don't know that there is that appetite within the Democratic Party.
I think that they would, though, go after an Amon Bundy or a Randy Weaver, who's at Ruby Ridge.
Well, I mean, there's already been things in states that want to be able to qualify who ends up getting access to firearms. Like during COVID, just a little bit before and during COVID, like there was a legislator in Louisiana was trying to be able to ban, my community from having access to firearms based on us being mentally ill.
Exactly.
And
it's a great example.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about that, but you're 100%, you're right.
Mental illness is a scare word that I know that we've talked about, the idea of if laws.
Oh yeah, hugely.
And all I say when I hear people talk about that is like, remember the history of what if you ever read the DSM, I can't remember what the
DSM 5 is now.
5 is
we're in 5.
Yeah, but the history of these diagnostic mental conditions, what has been considered a mental condition.
I mean,
mental and developmental, but yes.
The word hysterical, right, derives from the fact that people said that women were mentally ill, right?
Yes.
It's
innately. Mentally ill.
It is the craziness that we all have to worry about and guard against. And when we talk about what's going to happen in terms of, guns, and I didn't mean to take us off on that tangent too much, but due process is the magic word that should affect everything. Okay? If somebody makes a threat, that's against the law. Okay? Let's not stop diminishing these little things. If somebody says, you know what, I'm going to kill you, that's actionable. We have laws that say if somebody says something like that to you, they should go to jail for a while. And if you want to say they should lose their liberty, I don't have a problem with saying, when you do that, you do lose your Second Amendment rights. Because you're a felon.
I've made that point about, legalizing sex work, because people always talk about the bad things that go along with sex work, the assaults and the rape and all that stuff. That stuff is still illegal. Trafficking is still illegal. If
Yep.
you legalize prostitution, if you legalize the actual just person to person commerce that happens, uh, then all that stuff that you think is horrible about prostitution is still illegal. You can still
Yep.
prosecute somebody. But the thing is, you bring the sex worker into legal protection where they can seek out the remedies when it comes to being assaulted or being raped.
Right.
That's the benefit of legalizing is
Oh,
to
I wish
I
rape
wish
mattered.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean,
I wish rape mattered.
why are we
that's
not?
true.
You're exactly right. Why are we not prosecuting all violent crimes
Yes.
exactly the same?
well, I meant you look at the backlog of just
Rape
even the
kit.
kits, whether
Yep.
it's cis or trans, like the kits that are still out there for people who have been the victims of that particular crime, like it would take, if we were to be able to do all of the ones that were nationwide, it would take years to be able to go through them because they don't prioritize any of them.
Right.
But yeah, it's and yeah,
And
the tax benefit. Look at what's happened with Sweden and Germany and places where they've legalized it.
Australia, Portugal.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yep.
Australia, Portugal. Yeah.
There's a
Um,
really interesting thing too. There's always been a joke that says I can't remember who made it first. I want to say it was Robin Williams, but he said, "Listen, Republicans, you are so concerned about gay people having sex, but you're against gay marriage. If you let them get married, they'll stop having sex," which I thought was pretty funny. But there's
I
something
mean,
about that.
they're not wrong. You're not
There-
wrong.
there's something about that with prostitution as well, because the if you
It's
want
not
to actually
fetishized.
contain prostitution, the right way is to let the government supervise it. Right? We talk about
Oh God.
legalizing it. What most of us actually would be in favor of is complete decriminalization
Sure. Yeah.
rather than legalizing.
Yes.
But the United States
Yes.
isn't ready for that yet. So the first step
Well,
might be
it's
legalizing. And I think I want to clarify too, because at various points in time, this came up a lot in my congressional campaign when I said that I was in favor of legalizing prostitution. People are like, "Don't you think all sorts of horrible things happen because of prostitution?" I'm like, I think all sorts of horrible things happen because of prostitution in the context that it's in. I don't think that there's anybody who thinks to themselves, "I hope my child grows up to be a prostitute." But there's a lot of people who say, don't say, I hope my child grows up to be a painter or a carpenter. People want a doctor or a lawyer. Maybe there are people who say, I don't want my kid to grow up to be a lawyer. Whatever it is, we don't know. It's unknowable. And the point of saying that we want to legalize or decriminalize prostitution is that we want to take us out of the judgment business of the idea of saying what you're choosing to do with your life isn't something that the government should be involved with in making a decision, because there are lots of people who choose, it's what they call survival prostitution, where people they don't want to be prostitutes, but that's what they feel like they have to do right then to pay their bills. And
Yep.
I think I've told this story. Yeah, I'll tell it. Again, it's a 3-minute story. I'm at work. I manage a team of software engineers. We have this guy named Cho who works there. And during the interview, yes,
Tom.
I
Agreed, Tom. Absolutely agreed, Tom.
during the interview, it was apparent to me, Cho was what we call a 10x. He was as productive as 10 times as an average developer. It's an industry term. You meet people like that every now and then. They're worth it. He also physically stunk. Like, he really stunk during the interview in person. And so when we hired him, he came into work. Part of my job was to work and make sure that he became more palatable to all the people that he had to work with. So at one point in time, I got him to start eating lunch with everybody else. I got him to brush his teeth on a regular basis. I showed him how a wash, dry, and fold works. Explained to him how just every 2 weeks he could take all of his laundry in hefty bags and pay somebody and they would wash, dry, and fold it so he always had clean clothes. And over time, he got a little bit better. And we talked about other things, and I talked about, we once every week we would sit down for about 30 minutes to an hour, just talk about it, talk about stuff and work and these sort of things. And then at one point in time, I sort of had talked to him about, are you seeing anybody? Would you like to be seeing anybody? He's like, sure, but he's like, I can't do it. It's never worked out. Like nobody's even asked me out. I'm like, you're a nice person. You're smart. You have a funny personality when you let people get to know you. If you make yourself available, somebody might ask you out. And in that space, I think that you could improve things. And so one Monday he comes in. I'm like, "How was your weekend?" He's like, "I got lucky." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "You have not advanced that far." I'm like, What happened? How did you get lucky?" He's like, "Do you know that new girl working down in data entry?" I'm like, "Oh fuck." I'm like, stop. He's like, "Well, no. It's like it's not what you think." All right. I'm like, I'm very glad that it's not what I think. She told me that if I gave her $500, we could have sex.
Nice.
Like, so now I'm fucked as
Good
a
man.
manager because somebody has clearly told me that they did something that is absolutely against the company rules and should be fired. So I don't know what to do. So I call my friend who is the head of HR,
Mercedes.
and he's like, "All right." He's like, "What is this girl's name?" I'm like, Her name is Linda." He's like, You send out an email that you, Cho, Linda are all going to meet in my office at 2 o'clock." And so we go into his office, and he says, "Okay, guys." He's like, and obviously, Linda doesn't really know what's going on because she hasn't been part of any of these conversations, but she gets in there, and you can tell she is not happy to be there, and you can see that she's afraid.
HR
And
is never happy to be anywhere.
yeah, and so my boss, the head of HR, starts talking. He says, "So guys, I want to talk about some stuff. So I want you to be aware of the fact that what we do is we work with, HIPAA sensitive information. We work with IEPs and stuff like that. And because of that, we have very strict rules for our employees, including there's a no fraternization rule. That means that you guys are not allowed to date. Okay, it's just not allowed within the company." Said, "Now, Dan told me that Cho said that Linda, you guys, and Cho went out on a date, and he spent $500 on the date over the weekend." He's like, "I understand Boston's an expensive town. Sounds like you guys had a nice time, but that's not okay." He's like, "Do you guys understand that I'm giving you a warning right now that you are not allowed to date each other?" And Linda's like, "Yes, we understand that." And Cho's like, "Well, it's not." And she literally kicks him.
She
And
understands what you're saying.
yes, so that's essentially it. This guy's been around all the time. I've been around the block. They leave. I'm like, "Thank you." He's like, "Nobody can ever talk about this again." He's like,
No.
I'm like, "I got it. So I'm in my office, and it's like, I'm there late. It's like 6:30, 7 o'clock. Linda comes by the door. I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." And she's like, "Let's just say one thing. I needed $500, and I knew that he would not hurt me and leave if I asked him to leave." That's it. And she left. And I'm like, I can't judge it. It is not my place to judge people doing those sort of things. And so when I talk about the legalization of prostitution, I'm talking about the fact that I don't understand people's issues all the time, and it's not for me to make a judgment in that scenario. So
You
that's
know,
my little story.
and still
And
one of my favorite episodes of this show was when we had Miss Scarlett on to talk
yep,
about sex work, and she was phenomenal. It was a great show. It's again one of my favorite episodes.
yep,
One of our most viewed episodes as well.
yep.
Well,
The Go ahead, keep going.
I can actually attest to what it does because I think I might have talked about this before, but Jason Williams, who's the DA in New Orleans, um, decriminalized the act of sex work. Like for sex workers, he's not prosecuting any of them. Like
Good.
he's not going after a single one of them at all. The people that he's focusing on is if they have people who are handling things for them. But a lot of stuff in New Orleans is not that. It's mostly decentralized. It's mostly through, websites. It's mostly through escort services. It's
Right.
at the gay clubs, the gay sex clubs that are there in New Orleans with a again, like I said, a wink and a wink and a kiss, or a handshake and a kiss.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, Tom brings up an excellent point talking about the Vrabel Rossini corollary. Now, I'm probably in a smaller minority than most people, but I was very familiar with Diana Rossini's work. She
Yeah,
does
I
a
know.
lot. Yeah,
She was based in DC for a long time.
yeah, she's an excellent reporter.
Yeah.
Did a lot of great stuff. And I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that her career is far from over. Insightful,
yeah,
etc. She did some things that people feel that were inappropriate, uh, probably just because they got caught. Um,
Yeah.
and it is unfair that
You know,
she
she's
resigned.
yeah, she loses at least her job. Mike
Right,
Vrabel does his little press conference
right.
and then
He
goes to
misses one
rehab.
day of the draft.
Yeah, he goes to rehab, which
Yeah,
is,
exactly.
yeah,
kind of the cop out for rich people when they fuck up.
Yep.
Um, the worst thing about Rossini is, now that the veil has been torn off this whole story is that um she was absolutely shitty to her husband. Like
Oh,
she would
yeah.
go on to these podcasts and she would absolutely like, my husband's boring and
Yeah.
I did stuff in Miami that I wouldn't even tell my husband about. And you're like, holy fucking
Yeah.
shit.
Now
Just
finding out that
divorce
that was
him.
not her comedy routine, right?
Yeah.
That was, yeah, yeah,
Just divorce the dude. Don't beat him up. And I mean, yeah, again, like, maybe, yeah, like with Christy Noem and her husband, he has a humiliation kink, and maybe that's, he gets off on the fact that she's dogging him in public.
yeah.
But
No, I mean, there's
damn,
all sorts of facts. The thing that Vrabel and Rossini predate Rossini's marriage, and continued
yeah,
all through it. There's all sorts of salacious
sketch.
shit like that.
well, like John is the John ended up talking about unionizing. There are sex workers unions,
There are.
Yeah,
and I think so long as they're kept like it's not a necessity, like you don't have to be forced into it. I think it's a really good idea. They have kind of a group for the women out at the bunny ranch in
in
Nevada that
Nevada.
Yep.
Yeah,
they've
Nevada's got a
done
huge
stuff.
union
Yeah.
up there.
Yep.
And like I've seen some of the things that can be done, like the stuff in New Orleans just simply decriminalized it, made it easier for people to come forward to be able to go and talk about them being forced into situations, or you know people having to you know not get the testing that they need. And like some of the work that I did, particularly in New Orleans, handing out and doing stuff with sex workers and the folks at the leather clubs, like it made it easier to talk to them about like safe sex, and having these kits that we handed out, getting them information for you know needle exchanges, having them get connected to a lot of different, goods and
just
services within the parish.
yeah, just making it, because really, as a sex worker, any interaction with any authority is a
Yeah,
dangerous thing. If
Yep.
you if it's illegal in
hugely.
your area, so are you going to go to your county health to get tested? To stay safe if something happens during an episode and condom breaks or whatever, get yourself tested. If you're afraid to go in and show your face, you're not going to get tested, and you could
Hmm.
possibly spread shit all over the country. All so just legalizing and getting the stigma of
Right.
interaction with protection. Like if you are, yeah, if you are raped, I know the chances of them testing the rape kit is slim and none, but you also have
Yeah.
information about the person that did stuff to you that you may not
and
have if it's a random encounter.
and you can get connected to victim groups and compensation funds and safe housing and like all of these different services
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
you
if you
can
want to
get
get out,
connected to that are so important. Yeah,
yeah, if
Right.
you
exactly.
want to get out of the lifestyle, then you have more access to resources. Yeah,
And let's
uh,
bring the circle back to what we were talking about, which is the idea of the president who we
having too much
know,
power.
the president who we know has engaged prostitutes.
Yeah.
We know that he's done worse, or at least he's certainly accused of having done significantly worse.
Yes.
People talk about some of the stuff that's in the Epstein file, right? There's the allegation from the 13-year-old girl that not only did Trump and Epstein have sex with her, but then Trump said that he would kill her parents if she talked about it. That's in the Epstein files, folks, even though Trump said there's
Where
nothing
are the rest of the
worthwhile in
Epstein
there.
files?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
in that scenario, we're talking about, how we have this president who is, you know, amoral, complete lack of morality. And then in that context, you see a lot of Republicans saying, or I was surprised, I saw a lot of Republicans saying, look, violence is not the solution, but this guy, Cole Thomas Allen, took more shots than the Bruins did today. No, that's not, sorry.
At least quality shots.
Yeah, I'm very mad at the Bruins. But Cole Thomas Allen, who seemed like, not a crazy guy, and yet he was driven to this level of response. And I think more people are realizing, in the same way that Luigi shooting the United
Mangione.
Healthcare CEO,
Yeah.
all these things, people are starting to say, look, violence isn't the answer, but if we're saying violence isn't the answer, but we're not understanding what drives this level of excessive behavior, we're missing out the other part of it. And
Well, we can only expect to see more of it
I,
until you address it.
I think Tyler's point of the next president, and we talked about this in the beginning, next president is going to have to talk a lot about what they're going to undo, how they're going to undo Trump's legacy. And
Yeah.
for people who tuned in late, we have a contest going on. Assuming that the Trump ballroom gets built, and then you become president, what purpose would you put it to that would infuriate Trump the most? And we've heard that it would become the Presidential Commission on DEI. Ari had suggested that there could be a leather bar there.
I said
There, go ahead.
transports.
Transports, right? The Division of Transports. Tell us what you are going to do, because I do think that a lot of undoing Trump's legacy is going to be, there have been situations like this where things like this have happened in the past. When Stalin took over from Lenin by force, they
Should have
essentially
been Ringo.
it should have been Ringo. But they
Nah,
essentially
Groucho.
got rid of Lenin's name from a lot of things. And then when Stalin finally was out of
Very
power,
Egyptian.
Stalin was,
The
terrible.
Khrushchev speech.
they got rid of Stalin stuff everywhere. Okay,
well, the Khrushchev secret speech to the Soviet Presidium that laid bare all of the sins of Joseph Stalin. I mean, it
yep.
was. I wonder. I wonder if that's going to happen when Trump goes away. Do they
Well,
have the
it's
secret?
going to be interesting because for a long time we've had statues of Confederate generals all over the place, but now people are starting to tear those down. I hope
Nice.
that we're going to do the same thing with all the shit that Trump has done. Like, I mean, the Kennedy Center, right? And I already saw the jokes about Trump put his name on the Kennedy Center and now he's trying to get shot, stuff like that. But
oh jeez,
it is going to be interesting to see how much people are able to do, because I do think that would be the most healing thing that could happen.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead, Dave.
Let's. I'll put it to each of you. What is one thing you would do that Trump has done that you would undo? Like, if you were president for the day, what power would you unwind?
I would ask Congress to take away the power of executive orders from the president, and I would sign that.
That's a good one. I probably would go after the Jones Act first.
See, that's fucking bullshit, right? Because Trump just suspended the Jones Act.
True.
Yeah, but
I mean,
get rid of it.
But that's temporary. That's temporary.
Yeah.
Just get rid of it.
It is
not just suspend it. Get rid of it completely.
Yeah.
Like so much of our economy, especially like import export stuff, is made so much more expensively, much more exponentially expensive because of it. Yeah. And like the economics alone with like getting rid of the Jones Act completely, like there's so many different imports and exports that would become considerably cheaper, a lot more accessible for people to be able to get here and improve the lives of so many people here in the United States.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some good not go to war with Iran in the comments. Yep. But AJ, where are you at? What would you script?
Well, I was thinking that no one should be above the law, but doing away with the presidential immunity, that's in the chat as well.
Yep.
So that's where I was headed. No one should be above the law.
I can't agree more. I would say that I'm with Jeremy on not going to war with Iran. But I think for me it's rebalancing the power between the presidency and Congress. Dan has a great idea in ending executive orders. Even if you don't want to end executive orders, and there are exigent circumstances, I can see. But make all executive orders have to face a vote in Congress within 30 days.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's
a real good one.
And make sure Congress has to put a stamp of approval on an executive order. And if they don't, they can pocket veto it by not voting on it. But the idea that within 30 days there has to be either congressional approval or it goes away.
Yeah, I do think that we have to censor Tyler for that terrible pun about talking about nailing it while talking about tearing down the ballroom. Too many construction terms in one post. But other than that, it is a really interesting idea that that there have been situations like this in the past. I don't know if Tom's still on, but Tom and I are old enough to remember when Ford pardoned Nixon, and one of the reasons that he did is he said, "Let's just forget about this man and move on."
I'm going to have Tom on the show to talk about the Jim Gray Bunny Ranch experience during the 2012 presidential campaign.
I think that would be great.
Yes.
Tom is one of my favorite guys to go drinking
with.
with.
God, yes. How many times will you tell me to go fuck myself during that episode? I don't know.
Oh, my
but
God.
It will happen.
Oh, listen.
Can we have a counter? Like in the corner?
I was gonna say, what about taking shots?
Oh no.
Non-alcoholic shots.
Dave does not get drunk on the show anymore.
Not
Non-alcohol,
anymore.
Since the first, since the
non-alcoholic
very first
virgin
episode.
Right.
shots.
You notice how there's a person who used to be a host here who doesn't come back anymore?
This is true.
That is a
I
cautionary
know. I
tale
was
for all
just
of us.
told. I was just told, which is why I went with virgin shots.
Yep.
Yeah, cautionary tale.
Give you some Shirley Temples or some ginger punch.
Yeah, I don't like if somebody gets drunk on the show. I don't mind because my first episode I got completely blitzed during the after hour show.
Yeah.
Not just for gambling.
I had to take it down. It was bad.
Yep.
So, but I didn't threaten anybody. So
Right.
that was.
I do think that it's interesting because I think everybody who watches Graham Norton will agree that Graham Norton's show is the best show that's around.
It's a great show.
One of the things that's
It is.
fantastic about it, though, is that people drink while they're doing it. However,
Yes.
recently, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Hot Wings. Hot Wings
Oh yeah, yeah.
gets a lot of publicity for being great interviews. And the thing is, it's that shared bonding experience of unbelievable fire in your
Oh,
mouth.
it's an amazing show.
Pain.
I love it.
It's
The Terry
exactly.
Crews
pain.
episode.
All the
Yeah.
pain.
And you get people just talking about things. And so it doesn't have to be right.
I agree, Mercedes. It's yeah. I got my libertarian bona
Yeah,
fides that night.
Woo!
I was
Tyler
gonna say
bringing
with,
the fire.
with Tyler.
The fire.
So it wasn't just Akhenaten. Like before her discovery, nobody even knew of Hatshepsut. And she predated Akhenaten, but he was predominantly erased. There were several pharaohs. And that was one thing that I brought up previously was you're going all Egyptian on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I agree. Like I agree to a degree on erasing him. We shouldn't forget what's been done,
That's
but
fair.
he needs to be forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question. There's such an unbelievable lesson for democracy and for us as a country. I mean, in many ways, I don't want to be hyperbolic about it, but in many ways, it's the lesson that Germany really had to learn the hard way, that people can suddenly say, you know what, I'm going to be a selfish prick and worry about myself and fuck everybody else. Because if government's working for me, that's good enough.
But
Because that is what's happening here, right? There's no excuse, there's no rationale where somebody can say, oh yeah, I'm going to justify the bullshit that Trump has done. And yet you see people doing it all the time.
But yeah, I mean, there is benefit to having those reminders because I think, we start out with never again, never again. We've talked about it, the further you go out, we're seeing the people who lived through the Holocaust are dying.
Yep, very few left.
There are very few left. People who lived through World War II, very few left. And you're seeing the rise of these kind of virulent anti-immigrant, anti-Jewish parties in Europe, the AfD,
Again.
the Marine Le Pen's party, the Reform UK party. Those, I mean, there is a march of this stuff there where people who don't have that institutional knowledge, and I think, it's like when I went, when I lived in Atlanta, there was a place called the Varsity, which is a restaurant that serves like chili dogs and chili burgers. And I would say every once in a while you have to eat at the Varsity to remind yourself why you should never eat at the Varsity, because it just destroys your digestive tract. I mean, it opens a conduit from lips to asshole. Yeah, you just don't do it, but it tastes good going down. It just doesn't feel good coming out.
Right.
Every once in a while, you need to have that reminder of, and I think we're kind of going into that. We're looking at these authoritarian leaders when we saw Viktor Orban lose in Hungary,
in a landslide.
In a landslide. I think the tide is moving against the Le Pen party. They're I don't know. Keir Starmer keeps fucking up in England. And I don't know what the Reform Party is going to do in the next elections, but I'm fearful for what happens with England. But I think people are looking at the rise of these authoritarian parties when they're able to kind of go back into the history books and say, remember,
Right.
remember we let these dick bags into power back in the 30s?
Right.
Let's not do that again.
Right. And I think an important part of that, and this is where I worry that people are going to miss the plot, is that it's important to remember that this is cyclical, because any power that has authority tends to abuse it. And that abuse is what gives birth to the real opposition against you. Like, we can complain about the Trumpsters and all that shit, but they didn't come from nowhere. They're not justified in the crazy shit that they want. But we should understand that they didn't feel heard for one reason or another. They did crazy shit. They ruined the country. They violated the Constitution. We have to find a way to say this is a cycle. Somehow the crazy people all get united at one point in time. And we have to find a way to say, crazy people, we understand that you're unhappy, but we need you to understand that you're also crazy. And that you can't have things the way that you want, because it always ends up in a disastrous situation for everybody else. In many ways, it's like children, right? If you let children have everything that they want, they design a system that destroys themselves, usually, because they don't know any better. And the people who end up falling in line behind these authoritarian idiots are naive like children. And they don't see long-term consequences. They only care about instant gratification. In many respects, now that I think about it, I'm really depressed about our future, because I don't think we've ever had a generation that is less invested in the future and more interested in instant gratification.
I meant
Maybe that's
we're
the old
kind
stuff
of
in me.
that as a species. We're kind of that as a species. Whenever we create something new,
Yep.
like the ease of use of that thing makes it so that the next generation has something to be able to use that makes their life easier. I
Yeah.
meant the leap between the beginning of the, you know, 20th century to now the 21st century. Like there's a lot of analogs between it. And um I don't know, like there's good and bad to advancements. There's always going to be benefits and there's always going to be drawbacks.
Yeah. It is.
Technology, tech.
I
I
was
mean,
just
I
going to
agree.
say,
I
go
agree
ahead.
with John here, saying education
Education is,
is
yeah,
the
The
magic
magic
bullet, but
bullet.
I think there's parts of education that really need to be emphasized for a people to start advancing and to really reach their full potential. And that is, critical thinking needs to be a core concept when it comes to education in this country.
I
Just
want to
rote
call out
memorization.
Mercady's awesome joke.
Okay.
Hepset who? Really funny.
Nice.
That is
That
really funny.
solid pun.
Um,
Um,
I agree
well,
with you.
Terminator 2.
it's not
Education.
just education. But go
Yeah.
go ahead. I'll
I
go
was
and get
just
the
going to
juice
say,
in
I
a
mean,
little bit.
education is the right path. And the problem is that the enemies of good, let's just call them that, recognize that too. And that's why they're trying to change education, so that education is no longer a broad and liberal survey of thinking and intuition
Yes.
and knowledge and thought process, but instead they present them with shallow. The South wasn't so bad. All of these things that, but I mean, you hear that all the time. Cavalier culture, right? Tom Woods used to talk about that shit all the time, about all the great things that we wish the South still had. There are lots of children being taught that stuff, and you can go around the world, and you can find all sorts of places where lots of children are being taught horrendous shit, and
Yes.
that is something I worry about. Now, this ties into a nice little argument I've been having in other places about Citizens United, because Citizens
I saw
United
that.
is unbelievably misunderstood. And I'll start by saying that a lot of people who think Citizens United should be repealed are often very hurt when they find out that the ACLU says, no, Citizens United should not be repealed. And the reason why is because Citizens United is about speech. And so the Citizens United ruling protects speech. Now, it might protect speech from people you don't like, corporations or unions. And worth mentioning statistically, unions have gotten about 80% of the big spending from the. I will talk a little bit about AI. The Citizens United. So the ACLU said, look, our problem isn't the bad speech, because everybody says the speech I don't like is bad. And so if we say we're going to limit bad speech, we fucked everything. Instead, what we should be doing is finding a way to promote good speech. And that's on you and that's on me. When we find good speech, you have to do something like
Wrote it.
start a podcast or whatever is a way for you to get things out there, to get your message out there. And that's a better thing. And so,
Share silly memes like me.
right. And so, one of the things about that's really fascinating about education and culture, and we talk about this a lot, and we've talked about it before, is the changing attitudes in the United States on marriage equality, gay marriage, same-sex marriage, or whatever you want to call it. It's not that long ago, 2008, both Democratic frontrunners, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, say that marriage is between a man and a woman. Nobody had to change education in school. I know that conservatives will say that they happened, but that didn't really happen at that point in time. What happened was culturally, it just changed. As people started to know gay people, by and large, you talk to millennials, none of them understand why there's ever any bullshit about who gets to get married or anything like that. Presentation.
Very Harvey Milk way of doing stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Mark Twain famously said, "Never let your schooling interfere with your education."
Fair enough.
And that's what we have to do. Is we just have to
So
fight. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, Craig posted the Senate race update that Plantner has gone way ahead, and I think to touch on some of the other things that are in the chat here, Janet Mills vetoed legislation that would have slowed down AI
The data center.
data centers.
Just
in
data
this-
center.
I think that really just I think that sealed her fate in this race.
Yeah, I mean, she'd been.
I think
out
she
of
was
it for
going
a
to lose
long
anyway.
time.
But
Yeah. And I mean, the thing that
I'm gonna lose anyway. Might as well do something terrible before I win.
yeah,
Well, she
What
wants
a
to.
fucking cunt! Oh my god!
So
well,
I think she's
it
looking
had
for a
been
landing
consistent
place.
with her position all along.
Well, and I think she's looking for a landing place when she leaves office. So I mean, there's that
Maybe
too. I mean,
data centers. I mean, I've been to 2 meetings now. Data centers are not long for the United States.
no, I don't think so either.
No,
But I think we're going to spend a lot of money putting data centers all over the place, only to have
No,
like if you go down the 81 corridor,
Uh,
you see all these empty fucking warehouses.
yeah.
That's what you're going to have.
No, I
And
mean,
all these kids left over with respiratory illnesses and no hospitals to go to once that big beautiful bill does
Yeah.
what it's going to do in 27. I'm just saying.
yeah.
Can I get back to education for 2 seconds?
Yep. Go ahead.
Because there was something that I wanted to be able to touch upon, because whether it's going to be something that government addresses or something privately, you can have all the education in the world, but if you do not have any of the positives that come from particularly the social determinants of health, housing, healthcare, food, clothing, you can have all the education in the world and nobody's going to be successful. So like some of the underpinnings of this education needs to be addressed by communities, addressed somehow to be able to make sure that kids are actually successful in the work that they end up doing. If you don't have access to those four simple things, um, stable housing, um, um, nutritious food, um, consistent health care, and other social needs, like
Involved parents.
school is going to be something that's not going to be attainable for those kids. And again, whether it's done privately or publicly, like these are things that have to kind of be addressed as well. And like all the education and all the formal teaching and all the logic and all the critical thinking in the world is not going to help or change if people don't have access to their basics. And right now, those are being taken away without allowing for other things to get put in place more sustainably, whether
Yeah.
it be local or charitable or state run.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree that the core responsibility of taking care of humans falls squarely on the burden of people who want to define themselves as humans. And absent a better solution, providing food, providing healthcare, and providing education, people are going to choose government.
Yes.
And that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody because it's definitely true that in a democracy, which we agree is the worst form of government except for all the others, in a democracy, the people have the power and they're going to institute systems that protect themselves.
I'm in
Yeah.
favor of an anarcho-syndicalist commune.
Watery tarts, lobbing scimitars should not be the basis for a system of government.
Violence inherent in the system.
Exactly.
Untreated violence inherent in the system.
Yeah.
Help!
It-
Help! I'm being repressed. Bloody
Right.
peasant! Oh, what a giveaway! Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Eh?
And in this space right now, where we are looking at just this radical change in the evolution, the path of human history, the reality of it is that we have no idea what I have a nephew who's graduating college next week, 2 weeks. You have no idea what his life is going to be like. And that's not true from various points in time in the past. But as we look at data center flight, I think it's already happening. Most of the data centers now are going to go into the Middle East and into China.
The thing that I see with the data centers is that the states that early adopted data centers and let data centers move in, they probably reaped a lot of the benefit.
Yeah,
States now, I don't know that are going to reap the benefit that have been sold.
yeah,
They're basing it off the early adopters, and they didn't get in, and they're being sold a bill of goods on this stuff because you're right, this stuff's going to move offshore.
yeah.
And
No, I mean, Yeah, I honestly I was in a conference about this last week. It's over. The end of building stuff like that in the United States just isn't worth it anymore, because the most important thing in building data centers is speed, and they're going to go to places where they can build them fast, and speed is dangerous, right? You don't want a nuclear power plant built without as fast as possible. You don't want
hell.
a dam.
It's
built as
2026, man.
quickly as
We should
possible.
be okay.
Exactly, all those things about it.
Thorium. We need thorium.
I'm a huge thorium fan.
Yeah.
Anyway, we did a lot. Let's do the quiz. We're running late.
Yeah, let's do the quiz.
Yes.
We're doing the New York Times quiz because CNN apparently did not do a quiz this week. So, bastards.
Oh,
They were at
boy.
the correspondence dinner.
Oh, that's we're dodging bullets.
Yeah, New York Times wasn't invited. Failed New York Times.
Failed New York Times. All right. Question number 1. Tim Cook, the chief executive officer of Apple, made a major announcement this week. What was it? His company's merging with Microsoft. He is building a new headquarters in Brazil. He is discontinuing the iPhone brand. He revealed a new technology, iSmile, smart braces for teenagers, or he's stepping down as CEO.
iSmile would be pretty funny.
That
but
would
he's
be
stepping
He's
down. as
stepping
CEO.
down.
Yep.
Step down.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the new CEO is going to be younger than me. I find it very depressing.
So many people are younger than me now. It's like no professional athletes outside of the senior PGA tour
Right.
are younger than me now. And it's like, you know, the senior PGA championship was a week ago. And I posed the question when the headline says that somebody wins the senior PGA tour by a stroke, that that brings
really
more
funny.
questions than answers.
That's funny. That's really funny.
Question Tim Cook will step down as CEO of Apple to move to a new role as executive chairman. Over 15 years, Cook helped the company grow from $4 trillion to $4 trillion from $350 billion. Wow. John Ternus, Apple's head of hardware engineering, will succeed him as chief executive. All right, question number 2. Kevin Warsh. That's like how people say wash up here.
Yep.
I don't.
Yep.
It is.
There's definitely an
Kevin-
American accent where you say George Washington.
Washington, yeah. Kevin Warsh, President Trump's pick to lead the Federal Reserve, faced questions about his independence during confirmation hearings this week. In one pointed exchange, Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana asked Warsh if he would be what? Trump's lackey, Trump's mouthpiece, Trump's bagman, Trump's sock puppet, or Trump's ventriloquist dummy.
I'm really hoping that it was ventriloquist dummy.
I think it was actually sock puppet.
I feel like sock puppet feels more authentic.
It
Yeah,
sounds
because
kinky.
Well, because he did
Sounds
say
like him.
he did say, "Will he have his hand up your ass?" And when he opens his fingers, will your mouth move? So,
All
I don't
right,
know.
let's do sock puppet. Fuck it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's Trump's
we
sock
go.
puppet. Senators at the hearing seemed skeptical that Warsh would be able to resist pressure from the White House to maintain the Fed's authority.
Well, Warsh's response was, "There's only one sock in my bedroom, and it has a different purpose."
Oh.
Now I need some therapy.
Oh.
Question number 3. The Pentagon will stop requiring that troops get a vaccine against which disease? Anthrax, COVID-19, the flu, measles, or polio?
The flu.
guessing-
I thought it was COVID.
It's flu.
If AJ
That's
says
right.
flu, I believe AJ. I
Okay.
wouldn't
Yeah,
guess COVID, but
I saw this story. It was the flu. And like, I mean,
Stupid.
first off, they're not getting fed on the ships.
yeah.
And now
And-
you want to have a rampage of the thing that decimated the military during World War One.
Yay.
Yeah.
So Defense Secretary Pete Kegsbreath said that the annual flu vaccine will no longer be required for troops. He called the policy an absurd, overreaching mandate. Service member who want to get the vaccine will still be able to receive.
Right. You know, it's interesting. I don't think we have any veterans on our group, but it used to be that veterans were the trial group for all vaccines. And so,
Tuskegee Airmen.
yeah, well, that's really bad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that was
bad.
anthrax, so they've got a lot of experimental vaccines were tried out on service members.
yes.
We didn't even talk about this. This is,
Yep.
a big thing, but it's also been stopped. But voters in Virginia narrowly passed a referendum to redraw the state's congressional map. Which party does the map narrowly benefit? And what is the maximum number of House seats it's expected to flip? Democrats +4, Democrats +2, neither, it's even. Republicans +2, or Republicans +4.
D+4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to change all of these. Now,
Holy cow.
I know that we've seen all of the, the county maps that Republicans like to post after elections saying, look at how all the counties voted. When you talk about, they say that they're 40% of the people in Virginia, and they're only going to get one representative. That's roughly 40% of the state right there. I think land voting is good here.
It's,
Oh, that's
I mean,
that's interesting.
it's certainly not the worst gerrymandered map in the world.
No, I mean it is pretty gerrymandered. I mean,
Yeah,
when you think about where
right. The one that goes down the coast
Wise,
to Newport News, and yeah,
where
it's
Wise, Virginia is versus like
yeah,
Harrisonburg, it's a pretty brutal map.
it is, and there is a truth about Virginia that a lot of people know. DC was meant to be a square. A square rotated 90 to 45 degrees. That if you took out Arlington
All right,
and
Tyler.
Alexandria, Virginia is a mostly red state. But it didn't. That's not the way DC works, and so it's
Well, there was
it
a
is what
bill
it is.
introduced this week by a member of the House that
Yes.
wants to re-square the district,
Yep.
which would give back Arlington and Alexandria.
Yep.
That ain't gonna work.
No,
But
it's not going to happen.
No.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Question number 5: the Justice Department this week charged a civil rights group with financial crimes. Which group was it? The ACLU, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, National Congress of American Indians, the National Organization of Women, or the Southern Poverty Law Center. Only one of these I've actually been quoted in.
SPLC.
Yeah, only one of these that I've actually been quoted in.
About the Mises Caucus, right?
It was.
Yep. Now, I just want to say a little bit about this in that the SPLC, they did it wrong. It was a stupid thing that they did. However,
It's
if
not
you
what the
go back,
Republicans are saying.
if you go back, right, it's not what Republicans are saying. If you go back and look at the federal government, it does this all the time. So people who don't know
Yes.
should look up the Liberty 7, in which was a case where the FBI spent a lot of money to terrorists, enemies of the United States, in order to ingratiate informants so that they could find out what a terrorist organization was absolutely doing. SPLC claims, and we're going to find out because there's going to be information about it, but that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
That they
And
said,
it's-
okay, this guy, if we want him to get in good with the Klan, he should bring money with him and say, oh, I'm happy to sponsor the latest Klan bake or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
what
I mean-
they're
Well,
getting money
they
for.
did
It's
stuff
infiltration.
in Covington. They did stuff in Covington, Louisiana, which is where David Duke lives.
Yep.
Like it doesn't surprise me, but I want more information before
Yeah.
completely condemning the group.
For me, it's about infiltration, and for people who support guys like James Keefe and this other guy that did the whole Minnesota thing,
Yep.
it's infiltration, getting information and then sharing it. That's exactly what the SPLC was doing when they're infiltrating these groups and then sharing the horrible shit they were doing.
Right.
Investigations.
Right.
I do
the
want
idea
more
that-
information, but yeah.
The
don't think
idea
it's
that the
wrong.
SPLC was somehow sympathetic towards the Klan.
Like
It's
Jesus
just
Christ.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
no.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's legitimate to say that some donors might not have wanted them to spend the money the way they did, but there's no denying that the body of their work overall is a positive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Question
Most of
number
it.
6. Lori Chavez de Reamer, the battle leader of major U.S. agency, announced this week that she is stepping down. Which agency is it? Homeland Security Department, Labor Department, Interior Department, Education Department, or Treasury Department?
Labor
I have
Department.
no clue.
Yep.
It is the Labor.
Yep. Now, of course, the thing is that when Trump appointed her, he thought that only a woman who could give birth could be in charge of the Labor Department.
It's true.
I'll be here all week.
But quite honestly, all those departments need to have their leaders step down.
Yep.
Chavez de Reamer was the Labor Secretary. The department's Inspector General has been investigating whistleblower's allegations, including claims that she was having an affair with a member of her security team, that she used department resources for personal Look, this is like part and parcel. Like Kash Patel's been using the FBI SWAT teams to protect his girlfriend, using taxpayer dollars to go to Italy and drink with the U.S. men's hockey team. The Christy Nome.
Yep.
You having
Six
a
plane.
shaggin' wagon for the airplane for her. This is like a feature of the administration right now.
This is A reality TV show.
Oh my God.
Yep, they're doing it for the ratings,
Mm-hmm.
for the
Yeah.
lulls.
Yeah. Question number 7. British lawmakers passed a bill this week that would permanently prohibit tobacco sales to anyone born after 2008, anyone diagnosed with cancer, anyone under 40 years old, healthcare workers, or recipients of welfare benefits.
I'm going to guess that it's welfare.
Nope.
Yeah.
Really?
It
I know
isn't?
the answer on this one.
What is it?
Is it healthcare workers?
Nope. Anyone born after
Huh.
2008.
What?
Yep.
What?
Anyone born after 2008, the law aims to raise a smoke-free generation. In practice, lawmakers say the measure means the age of permissible sale of tobacco products will rise over time. As the target demographic group grows older, it will apply to England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland.
That's going to
That
blow
Yeah.
in your face.
seems a little crazy to me.
Metaphorically.
It does. I mean, this is the bad side of government overreach.
Yep.
You want government to do certain things, but
This is the bad side.
well, one of the many bad sides.
Yeah. I
It's
quit smoking
Tesseract.
April 27th, 2001. I'd been unsuccessful quitting several times beforehand. At one point, I went to a group kick off your quit, and they told you to bring an extra pack of cigarettes with you, and they had a coffin up on stage, and people were still up, and they would put their cigarettes in there, and then they would deliver a eulogy to their smoking, and unbelievable. People are like, I remember that day the car broke down, and I was stuck in the rain, and we were sitting out there for hours, and it was just you and me, and God, I don't know how I would have got through. I mean, it's like people were mourning a loved one, that level of addiction. So I get all that stuff.
It seems counterproductive. Like it just reminds you why you smoked.
Exactly. On the other hand, it makes you aware of how incredibly addictive nicotine is,
Oh, sure,
which is more addictive than cocaine. But
but you can't rip a fat rail of tobacco. Well, I guess you could off a stripper's ass. So, all right, question.
Not with my nose.
What item did Madonna say is missing after her surprise Coachella performance? A copy of her unreleased album, her blonde wig, her personalized microphone, her phone, her vintage outfit ensemble. I have no idea.
Madonna who?
I thought it was the microphone.
Was it the microphone? I hadn't
I
heard
don't
anything
remember.
Anything from the audience on this? I would have guessed blonde wig, but I don't know.
No. It's either going to be the wig or the outfit. I'm not 100% sure.
I say we go with Ari.
Do we have our normal?
Brandy
do we
say?
have our normal person who guesses in here?
I've seen Brandy post, so she may have.
No, I haven't seen Brandy in a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about the next one, which is Michael Jackson.
Yes.
It is Michael Jackson, but we have to do this one.
Yeah, we got to do this one before we get to the next one. All right, which one do we want to do? Microphone, wig, phone,
I
Microphone.
defer to Ari.
microphone.
I'm gonna be wrong. Ah,
Son
You
of
were right
bitch.
though that it was the outfit. That is a weird outfit.
yeah, but that's one of her ones from the 1980s.
It's an homage to Prince.
Shit, she's still rocking it though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
she still has. She
John-
still has a really nice ass.
yeah. I mean, it's worth mentioning that Madonna started her career as a dancer. Dancers
Yeah, she did.
fucking live forever. They're
Yeah.
so into fitness and all that stuff. Just
I'm
Well,
into
they have to be.
I'm into fitness pizza in my mouth.
nice.
Yeah, so her vintage outfit, which included a purple jacket, corset, and dress. Full circle moment hit different until I discovered that the vintage pieces that I wore went missing. She wrote on Instagram, "They aren't just clothes; they're a part of my history." She added. I get that. Yeah, that sucks. All right, yes, Michael Jackson is the Michael biopic. People are talking about him being uncanceled for.
It's interesting. They wanted to go a little bit into. I mean, you guys probably heard all this too. Into sort of the beginning of the allegations, but they were prohibited from doing it for legal reasons. And so even
Yeah.
though they shot some of the stuff, they had to take it out.
That'll be on the director's cut.
Exactly.
Question number 10. Fernando Mendoza, the first pick of the NFL draft on Thursday, played which position at which university? Left
think-
I have
tackle at Notre
no clue.
Dame, quarterback at Indiana, quarterback at Miami, running back at Florida State, or wide receiver at Penn State. AJ, you got this one.
Yep. That's right. AJ held up an I to indicate Indiana, quarterback at Indiana.
Quarterback at India. That is
Good job,
correct.
AJ.
Way to go, AJ.
And there's the IU, Indiana University.
So the somebody on ESPN posted, "What can the Las Vegas Raiders do to set Fernando Mendoza up for success?" My response is trade him to another team.
Yes. Although
I-
it'll be interesting. It's the beginning of the Brady era. We'll see what happens.
Oh, jeez.
Oh boy. Question number
Speaking
11.
of which, I want to say how disappointed I am in Tom for not talking about Vrabel and talking about how cheating is the Patriot way.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
I know this one. This one's cocaine.
All right. Question number 11. For a 10 out of 11 week, this week, Swedish researchers published a study documenting the impact of environmental toxins on salmon. As part of their research, which drug did they give the fish? Acetaminophen, cocaine, ecstasy, heroin, or THC?
Cocaine.
Ari says cocaine.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a drug.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing was that they had previously done one where they gave the fish ecstasy, but all they did then was just drink all the water in the aquarium.
Same with THC.
I'm pretty sure it's cocaine. Because
right.
there's actually cocaine that can be found in water that gets dispersed from cities into the different rivers.
Although, I mean, that's the actually guidance is no longer flush your if you're done with the medication, do not flush it because it ends up back in the water system. So yeah,
Yep.
It is a hell of a drug. It is cocaine. It is a 10 out of 11 week.
All right.
Ah,
All right. Well,
I was right.
yeah. All
Not
right.
bad.
Well, yeah, not bad. The New York Times quiz is often harder than
I don't have a problem with using it. I mean, if anything else, the fact that they're truly a Trump enemy makes me a little more inclined to them. Although they've been pretty sycophantic recently.
Yeah,
Who hasn't been?
The my favorite thing is the New York Times pitch bot.
Yes.
on
Oh
Twitter,
God.
which is basically they essentially propose just sycophantic, whitewashed headlines and shit like that. So
Yep.
yeah. So 10 out of 11, we are in the top 11%. So good on us.
I'm really very happy at the all the people who turned out today to watch the show, to listen to the show, etc. Dave's going to put us back up on full screen so that we can give you guys a big, big smooch for all people turning in.
It's good to be back.
Yeah, Ari, it's been great to have you back.
Yes,
and,
great to have you back.
I think that the Fantastic Four are going to continue with this, and I'm looking at it. This was a great show. We talked about a lot of stuff.
It was a definitely a free for all Sunday. We covered a lot of topics, and I had a great conversation. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we will talk to you all next week on the Political Deep Dive.
Good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.